every time you see a military vehicle on the highway does not mean we're going to have martial law the next day. So just get over it. Many of us veterans know how to tell the difference between what to be concerned about and what not to be concerned about. If you're on the public roads with weapons mounted, yeah, that's something to be concerned about, as opposed to being on a flatbed trailer being transported someplace. It's highly, highly unusual for military armored vehicles to be on the public roads with weapons mounted on them. That's such a rare thing. We got a caller here, Lee in Kentucky. Good morning, Lee.
Hi, John.
Go ahead.
Very popular YouTuber called Dutch Sense, who mainly covers weather, put up a video 2 hours ago titled Military Movement to Hawthorne Walker Lake. He then zoomed in on Google Earth, and it's in Nevada, and it was an Army base in Nevada, and they had an earthquake, about a 2.5, but it was right at the Army depot.
Really?
That's all I have. You can look it up, Dutch Sense, D-U-T-C-H-S-I-N-S-E.
Right. He's from my hometown, St. Louis. I don't know his real name, but he's been doing some good work.
His real name is Michael, I can't think of the fellow's last name. Anyway, there you are.
That's okay. We appreciate that. Let's check that out.
Yep.
And we have Frank in Florida. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning. The reason I'm calling, I've just basically started listening to your broadcast and viewed some videos on YouTube, and my main concern is that as far as information coming locally, MacDill is just only 35 miles from me. Wouldn't you think there'd be some activity there as far as moving people out and everything, or getting prepared for something since it's right?
Well, MacDill Air Force Base is also where the Special Operations Command is, and a lot of activity U.S. military regarding things that go on in Central and South America. So it's a major military command, and it's probably no more than 20 feet above sea level.
Yeah.
Here's what we've been hearing, that these large military bases near the ocean like that, they've been moving out heavy equipment and expensive large things in convoys at night under cover of darkness, so that the locals can't really see what's going on. When it comes to moving the men and women out, well, that can be done pretty quick, since men and women can get up and walk and load themselves on and offload themselves from buses or aircraft or trucks or whatever it might be. Moving heavy, expensive things is a bit more time-consuming for that reason. So I don't. If you're that close to MacDill, do you have any connections with MacDill? Any friends who work there or anything?
Well, I have a friend of mine that just lives around the corner from me. He's retired Air Force, and he's down at MacDill, going to the commissary and everything, weekly. He goes on the base. Is he
retired enlisted or retired officer?
He's retired officer.
Okay. Is he aware of what you're aware of when it comes to his earth?
I've spoke to him about a few things about because we're getting more and more alerts on the TV for the emergency broadcast system and stuff like that, and so he's more getting in tune to it. So I was going to go over and see him this morning and make him aware of a few things, just to see if he could just find out anything he could find out of the ordinary going on,
Well, here's what would be helpful for all of us. If he could have lunch at the Officers Club there at MacDill, or maybe go there on a Friday evening during happy hour and hang out with some of the guys he used to work with. The Officers Club is Rumor Control Central. And if there's anything going on there, and he's hanging out and maybe buying a drink for an old buddy that's still in the Air Force, there's a good likelihood he may find out some of this information that we need to find out.
Right. Right. Well, I'm definitely on track for trying to find out as much information as quickly as I can, because I obviously am living in harm's way right now.
You obviously are. Thank you for the call, Frank. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Here's our bottom of the hour break. We'll be right back.
Here, John. Good morning.
Well, good morning. We start out these little talks about the energy cleaner with our disclaimer to make sure the FDA goon squads don't break down our doors in the middle of the night. So if you just jump right in there, Tom, we'd appreciate it.
Sure, John. We are not doctors or medical professionals. We don't diagnose or cure any illness or disease. The information discussed today is for your education and entertainment only. If you have a medical condition needing treatment, you should utilize the services of a medical doctor, chiropractor, or other competent practitioner.
Absolutely. That said, I think we have John Reagan on standby here, too. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Well, John, we were talking privately last night, and you were telling me about some physical activity that you engaged in that you were dreading your recovery time. Tell us about that. What happened and what the outcome was?
Well, last month I had an opportunity to go to a 3-day conference. And if you've ever been to those, you know that the conference chairs are not the most comfortable things in the world. And those are the good chairs. They also had a lot of the folding chairs set up, so you're always fighting to get a good chair. So after 3 days of that, my back wasn't exactly happy, not to mention my legs from having to stay in a certain position for so long.
Right.
So I was looking forward to getting home from that and getting back to the energy cleaner, and did that and was starting to feel better. And about that time, the apartment complex decided it was time to do extermination and had to do a lot of bending and lifting, cleaning out cabinets. And it's taken a couple of weeks, but I'm now doing a whole lot better. In fact, yesterday was, with the exception of after grocery shopping, had pretty much pain-free day.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. That's really good to hear. So you've been using energy cleaner now. Let's see. This is about month number 8, I believe.
It was the end of January.
Okay. So we're in the 8th month, and you were quite skeptical when you first saw this little cream-colored plastic box, weren't you?
Yes, I was. And you're a pretty bright guy. You were an officer in the United States Air Force, and they don't have dummies do that. They only have very bright men and women who have high IQs. So you come into this as a mature adult with a good education, a high IQ, looking at this thing thinking, oh, come on, more. This little thing's going to help me. But you trusted it enough to go ahead and try it out, didn't you? Yes, I did.
And it has changed your life in some dramatic and very good ways, hasn't it, John?
Yes, it has. And probably ought to add, especially for the people who have been listening for a while, one of the first things that we noticed was with our dog. Back in January, her rear end was failing, and we were pretty much at the point where we were getting ready to have to make the decision to put her down. And we hooked her up to the energy cleaner, and she got much better. In fact, there were times she'd even pull the leash out of my hand. And unfortunately, we did finally have to put her down last month. But to take a 14-and-a-half-year-old dog, and that was failing, and give her 6 more months of quality life, that was really nice.
Well, that was a real blessing for you and your wife to have those extra months of seeing your dog really enjoy the last couple of months of his life. And I went up until 6 or 7 years ago, my entire adult life, without owning dogs. And when I finally got a couple of dogs, I finally understood how emotionally attached you get to these little creatures. They all have their own little personality, and they can be very sweet and lovable creatures. So I'm really glad that you had that experience, John. I'll be down there in Springfield, by the way, 2 weeks from tomorrow at Ziggy's Restaurant. I think you and your wife plan on being there, don't you?
Yes, we are. We look forward to seeing you again.
That'll be great. It's been a long 8 months. It's my how time passes. Well, I want to move on here and bring Tom into the conversation. You have any more updates for us, John?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, and then we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks.
Tom, I know you're the manufacturer of the Energy Cleaner, a small electronic device that is as simple as a brick, as I typically say. No on-off switch, no dials, no gauges. Just has a little LED light that flashes alternately green and red, doesn't it?
That's right. The purpose of the light, John, is to let people know it's working. Otherwise, there'd be no indication that anything's going on. And the two different colors indicate the what cycle it's in, because it has a discharge and a charge cycle.
Right.
When it blinks red, it's discharging the cells. It's putting out a positive energy signal that will assist the cells in your body to discharge any toxins and waste material. And then, of course, in the green cycle, it's charging and allowing nutrients to be pulled into the cells. And it's a constant flushing action. So much more effective than like a magnetic pad. A lot of people will use a magnetic mattress pad, and that works good, but you only get one half the cycle. So
right.
We're doing a complete full symmetrical cycle every 6 minutes. So there's 3 minutes positive, 3 minutes negative, which and there's some other details going on in the background as well. But that's basically what it does. There is no frequencies or anything like this. It's not a Rife machine, and you really don't even. It's not a TENS unit. It's not a Rife machine, and most people will use it with aluminum screen wire sandwiched in maybe like a thick quilt or an old blanket or something, and that's what they'll make the pad with, the energy pad. Now, that metal pad is not even touching your body, so it is it is the voltage signal itself that's doing the work. No,
well, I like to encourage people to use the bathtub or hot tub method, where you attach a metal spoon, any kind of metal spoon, to the alligator clip that's attached to the Energy Cleaner, and just drop the metal spoon into the hot tub or bathtub full of comfortably warm water. In the case of a bathtub, you would sit in there until the water starts cooling down. With a hot tub, now here's what I've done. I've had access to a hot tub recently. I turned down the temperature to 98 degrees. And at 98 degrees, which is basically body temperature, I could sit in there and feel quite comfortable for an extended period of time. The typical hot tub is a little bit hotter than that, 108, 110 degrees, and that for myself and many people, that's just too much heat, more than 15 minutes or so. So the turning the temperature down in the hot tub to 98 degrees makes it very, at least for me anyway, very tolerable and very pleasant to sit there and relax and let the jets swirl around and the Energy Cleaner do its thing. I use Energy Cleaner every day, Tom. I have an aluminum pad on my bed, and I look forward to a full 8-hour sleep, typically 15-20 minutes. I'm in a deep state of sleep with what they call the REM state of sleep, the rapid eye movement state of sleep. My peers, I'll be 65 years old here in a week. My peers, most of them have difficulty sleeping and take various medications, over-the-counter medications and different things that typically don't work very well. Some take prescription things that have all kinds of dangerous and harmful side effects. And one of the advantages of the Energy Cleaner, Tom, is it can do no harm, can it?
That's right. It's not going to hurt anybody. And if there's a part of your body that needs help, it's going to go in there like a set of jumper cables and get things kick-started and just assist your body to heal itself. That's all we're doing with this type of technology. Now, any areas that don't need any help, well, that's like putting a set of jumper cables on a brand-new car with a brand-new battery. It doesn't need it. It's not going to hurt it, but it doesn't need it. Same thing here with the Energy Cleaner. It will go in and assist the weak cells to begin pumping. You know, when John Reagan was on earlier, he mentioned, doing that physical activity that would hurt his back or what have you, some muscle pain Kind of reminds me, last night I was speaking with a lady that she contacted me to set up a seminar at her business, and she was telling me her teenage daughter uses the energy cleaner, and she's had one for a couple